Hey Scott, just me, man. Where are you?
I'm just on the track. It's about to get down to the beach.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Yep, okay.
See you. Now every day, twice a day, there's a kaleidoscope of colour that happens high above the clouds. And on a good day, well, we get to see it. Now some people see this some of the time, but all too often it's missed by people living really busy lives. And some people watching other people living their lives on social media platforms a bit like this. But that's not a criticism, it's just the way things are these days. Now I really enjoy doing these videos, and I'll explain exactly why when I gather my thoughts. As a photographer, I'm really lucky because I get to use my craft to use the world in macro detail, and I use this tool to make sure that I miss nothing. And if I can use my photography in these videos to let other people see how I view the world and be able to show them things that they can't see, be it for geography or other reasons, then that's super cool. Now I've been a professional photographer for over 25 years now, and the part of photography that's given me the biggest benefits, both professionally and personally, is landscape photography. And this has allowed me to live in the moment rather than always look to the future and really appreciate everything that's around me. Now it's had some obvious benefits, such as allowing me to see some beautiful moments right across the world, which without photography I just wouldn't have seen. And it's made me less uptight, more appreciative and much more patient with people around me. And it's these few last things which has actually given me a better relationship with my kids, which can't be bad.
There comes a time in everyone's life where nothing seems to go.
So I'm back out on the west coast of the North Island of New Zealand at a place called Kurikuri Beach, and I've never been here, not down on the beach like this before, and this was quite a find. I arrived here last night and came down here this morning for a sunrise shoot, and it was quite stunning. So back down here for sunset tonight with different light. It's obviously setting over to my left, your right. Yeah, my left, your right. And this morning it's set up behind me for the sunrise, so with the sea air coming in off the sea, it was quite misty, quite mysterious, so hoping to get some different lighting conditions tonight. Now thanks to everyone who commented and showed support in the last video. This last 6 weeks have been actually quite hard, losing your mojo and trying to understand what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, why you do what you do. It's been quite tough, but I think I've come out of that at the far end probably quite well, because I've had a thorough understanding and a thorough strip down of what it is I look for. And one of the things that I found this morning, particularly being here for hours before the sun came up, was that as the light starts to appear, I got to know this location before I shot. And that's probably the first thing for me, is that first and foremost I'm a photographer who vlogs, and even for this tiny little channel, I think as a vlogger I felt it necessary to go out and take a vlog, for which I took a photograph, and that's not the right way around for me. So photographs first, vlogging second, and it's affording yourself the time to do everything without trying to compress everything into that magic 5 minutes of light. So coming down here this morning, I wanted to come back here at sunset because the west coast of New Zealand is quite well known for its magical sunsets, but we do have cloud tonight, so I'm not quite sure if that's going to work. Now, taking photographs, I have done for a long time, and the thing that's probably given me the most joy is landscape photography. And one of the things I've found with landscape photography is that's the tool that gets me out in the space and gives me space and just allows me to push pause on life for a while. And spending hours down here this morning was brilliant, and that was my lesson number one: give yourself more time to do what it is you need to do. But in these last few weeks, I've kind of stripped my process, my workflow right down, and when I started taking landscapes, I started shooting with a Canon 5D. and I got the Canon 5D with a wide angle lens. So shooting 16mm is really wide, but all I was doing with that was capturing a big scene but dominating my foreground, and the background detail which caught my eye to start with was nothing but a tiny slither in the background. And when I tried to enlarge these for large prints, there was no detail there to enlarge, and it was just becoming fussy and chromatic aberrations were creeping in. So what I try to do is I disassociate length lens with perspective. So rather than shoot really wide with a 16mm or a 17mm lens, I first of all try to determine the relationship between the foreground, the middle ground and the background, and that determines your focal length. But clearly with a longer lens to compress these layers of detail, you narrow your field of vision, which is why I do landscape panels. And I do quite a few of them, as you'll see here in Flickr. So once I've determined my field of vision and my perspective relationship from foreground to background, I then start waiting on light during that magic 5 minutes of golden light, which is when I usually shoot. And I'm shooting this B-roll here a little bit early to allow myself some time to do a couple of shots this evening. So time's another one. Just give yourself some space and some time, and don't let your secondary discipline get in the road of your primary one. So it's been tough, but it's actually been really cool, because I have, as I say, come out the other side now. So I can focus, pun intended, on where I go from here with my landscape photography, and I'm looking forward to capture more beautiful scenes of beautiful places such as this, other parts of New Zealand, as I look forward to doing workshops next year. So without further ado, I'm going to get off this hot sand, and it's currently about 25 degrees, so it's hot tonight again, and this sand is roasting. So I'm not very comfortable sitting here. I'll go and set up. I've got quite a few cameras tonight though. I've got the Pentax 645, but I've also got FUJIFILMs GFX50S and FUJIFILMs GFX50R. So I'm like a kid in a candy shop tonight. I've got a lot more cameras than I know what to do with. Plus I've got the drones, so I'm going to go and stop this here. Now this trip isn't about taking award-winning photographs. Neither is it about getting images for the website, although I think I actually got one. This is about spending quality time on location, in good company, and just watching, enjoying and taking everything in. And reminding myself that I'm actually out here for a purpose, and despite not having glorious colour in the sky tonight, enjoy what we do get and soak in what I'm seeing. And even just watching these surfies play in the ocean, this is pretty cool to watch too. Now this is a wild and remote part of New Zealand, and there's actually only a handful of people on this beach for as far as the eye can see. And we're lucky enough to be here, enjoying the serenity and beauty of this quiet corner of the world. In beautiful conditions and in beautiful light, with all the time in the world. This is pretty special. And when you afford yourself this time to seek out and compose all your images, it actually reminds you that you're not just taking a photograph, you're practicing the art of photography. I'm not sure how much colour we're going to get tonight, because there's a lot of mist on the horizon, so may get nothing at all. That might be as good as we get. But I'll head over here and we'll take another one back down, heading west-south. Now I've always wondered why I got a sore back and sore legs taking photographs, but now I know. I'm curled up like a cat here. But this location's actually really cool because it offers up hundreds of compositions to choose from. It's really good. 6, that's okay. But I can't use the foreground because there's too much sand, so because we're using a levelling head and trying to get everything level for a panel, you'll generally find your horizon is in the middle. But there's actually too much foreground here because I'm capturing foreground and sky. But I'll just have to crop that in post. So it's a 6-shot panel, maybe 7. But as we're not going to get light, what I'm going to do is I'm going to head down to the sea and try and take what little colour I do have with this big rock, this big volcanic rock by the sea, long exposure, smooth the sea. I took it this morning, but I should get some colour behind it tonight. So there's actually a lone grass over here. I'll maybe even take that as foreground object interest and shoot the rest of it behind. One clump of grass. Right. Now, I've never been afraid to play around with camera placement nor tripod configuration, because it all makes a difference and can change a shot quite dramatically. Lower this a little bit. Just see the lens a little bit to see that's breaking its foreground. That's not going to work. Now, I've always been a bit of a perfectionist, and all these tiny adjustments and movements, they actually make a difference, as composition is really important. So that's about the end of the light for today, and I think we're past the point of colour for tonight, so I think it's about time to pack up. But the west coast of New Zealand is the gift that keeps on giving. The sun has long gone down now and it's nearly pitch black, but there's still incredible colour out there. Scott, we're going to have to get going. I think the way back is over there somewhere, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that's really cool. You've got that intense colour, eh? Yeah, that's actually pretty amazing, because it's actually pitch black everywhere around us, but you've still managed to get something out of it right from the foreground here, right to the horizon. That's incredible. So with a fairly long hike back to civilization, it's a perfect time to reflect on all that we've done over the last couple of days. Taken lots of photographs in a variety of lighting conditions, and the opportunity to shoot with various camera platforms. It's been good, and it's actually therapy in its own right. And the ability to be able to compare other people's images. That's really nice and soft. There's nothing here, eh? Really that's actually really important too. So the trip to the beach that we were never meant to come to has actually drawn to a close. And I must say it's been pretty cool. Maybe an ideal location for a workshop. So that's me back home after a 2-day trip to the west coast of New Zealand, and what a trip. And what a trip to be able to go there and consolidate your thoughts for 2 days, strip your processes apart, your workflow apart, and try and recount or recall the qualities that you look for in your images. It's quite a privilege to be able to do that. And last night, as I was vlogging the qualities that I look for in my images, I went and did, well, I'll show you what I did. So I went and did it again. I was vlogging when the light was really good. So I missed it. But I don't really care. I'll learn. The very thing that got me into trouble in the first place, trying to do too much when that golden light period is happening. But as I say, I wasn't really that fussed, because the trip has been so good. It's been so good in lots of different counts. So it's allowed me to get to where I needed to be after doing this video. So I'm now full circle back to where I was. And again, it's not a trip I would have done if it had not been for photography, so I've only got photography to thank. So I'll leave you with images that I got, and get out there with the camera, keep shooting, have fun, and until next time, we'll see you then. Cheerio. Now this was a bit of an experiment to see how much shadow detail I could recover from this image, and it's like turning the lights on and the image doesn't break up. These medium format camera systems are simply incredible.